Pittsburgh Steelers fans, welcome to another edition of Behind the Steel Curtains. We run the North. I'm Kevin Tate, guest contributor to BTSC, Know It All podcaster, and today I have a couple of the homies with me. I got my boy Mod from the Know It All podcast. He thinks he knows more than me, but by the end of this show, and if you watch this later today, you'll see that he doesn't. Mod, what's up, man?
What's up, man? You see it. You see it. We don't need to talk about it. You see it.
Man, this is an AFC North podcast, man. Nobody care about that, man.
They should care. They definitely should care. Be afraid.
B-Dirt,
Very
what's
afraid.
up, man? The homie B-Dirt. At least, hey, man, at least you a Bengals fan, man, in the AFC North. So, go ahead and say what you need to say, bro. Good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. It's nice. Bengals fans and Steelers fans, one thing we can both agree on, Cowboys are terrible.
Meanwhile, you get our leftovers. But, we won't say nothing. We won't say nothing.
No, I'm glad to have them. Glad to have them.
Oh, you guys talking about
Collins,
right? Yeah. Okay.
Not only that, the cornerback y'all got from us last year as well. Y'all got a cornerback from us last year, starting. Yeah. You don't know your cornerbacks?
No, I don't know who came from Dallas.
Is it like Chi something?
Yeah, Cheeto.
Chi or 1 or 2 or something like that?
Mm-hmm, Cheeto.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, today, Mod going to be with us for the first 10 or 15 minutes of the show. He's here because he lives down in Texas and is back and forth from where he lives in Austin, Texas to Houston, Texas quite a bit. And he just has a take on the Deshaun Watson stuff on what he's hearing on the ground down there. Today's show, what we're going to talk about, we're talking about news in the North after the start of OTAs. So, we're going to just jump right into the Browns thing. I mean, the Browns' biggest question is what's going on with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's been hit with 2 more accusers. So that number went from 22 accusers to 24 accusers in the past week. So, like I said, we talk about this in our Know It All show. I think Deshaun Watson is going to be suspended. Last time we talked about it, Mod didn't think Deshaun Watson would be suspended. So, Mod, go ahead and let us know what you know, man. Tell us some stuff about the Deshaun Watson situation come from the Houston, Texas perspective.
So, man, when you think about it, we've been, hearing about this for a long time, right? The court system didn't pick it up, right? They couldn't. What's up, just me? The court system couldn't pick it up because they could not defend this case, right? And, you see recently Deshaun Watson's lawyer, before he made the stupid comments, they already had offered.
Wait. Let's get some context. The stupid comment is like, there's no crime in getting a hand job. That's what he said, right?
No, he said it's no crime getting a happy ending with a massage. That's what he said.
Okay.
That's what he said, getting a happy ending with a massage, which that's the stupidest, insensitive comment that you can make in this climate. I have to use the word stupid. I'm sorry, you guys. We don't use that in our house. It's taboo. But I have to say, it's just not smart. It's not smart to make that comment. But after they had made settlement offers to the 22 women at $100,000 a pop, you have 2 more come out. Isn't that just the most
coinky-dink thing? So Deshaun Watson decided to pay the 22 women
$100,000 a piece. So
that's
$2.2 million.
Okay.
Drop in the bucket. And we said it, Tate. You and I had talked about this before, and we said that would have been nothing to give, right?
Right. Not on the $46 million contract. Yeah. Thanks everybody in the live chat for joining us. We're just trying to jump right to this. We'll get with you guys too. So at some point in the show. I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So the gist of the matter here is when we start talking about it and we start putting it out, the other 2 don't surprise me. We already know that 4 of the 22 said they wouldn't even be coming forth. Family members of those 4 said that they wouldn't be coming forth if it wasn't about the money, right? And then you have to think back, who were these people represented by? They were represented by lawyers with ties to the Houston Texans. So this whole thing kind of is a snowball effect. Am I saying Deshaun Watson is right? No, that is not what I'm saying at all. Please don't hear that. There may be some women in this whole thing that were victims. But ask yourself this question. They vetted this man. They paid this man all that money. The Houston Texans paid him all that bread.
Like $150 million, right?
Right. And then when he said, hey, y'all got to trade me because y'all not building a team around me, or they're like, oh, okay, we'll get you. Now, this is information that they had to have known before, right? So if it's information they had to have known before, it came out. Houston judges are not picking it up. The courts, the Texas courts are not picking it up, right? So there's no criminal case. The NFL has vetted him for a week and a half now, and they're not even looking like they're going to take a whole bunch of action. But I will say this, they're getting heat because we're hearing now people are starting, my own fan base is starting to cry wolf because they're like, okay, Ezekiel got 6 games for less. You know, this man should get 6 to 10 easy for what's popping off and transpiring in Cleveland or what happened in Houston. But I have to say this. Here's my thing, and I've just been reading, gaining more information. The Shield doesn't have as much power as they had when they suspended Ezekiel Elliott. Those days are gone. You have an independent prosecutor or independent judge now hearing these cases. So independently, the Shield can't do what the Shield wants to do.
Well, when you refer to the Shield, I think you're probably just talking about Roger Goodell.
When we're talking about the NFL, the Shield, definitely.
But Roger Goodell is the one who rendered the punishments and what was going to be done in the past. Now, like you said, they have an independent somebody, if it's a judge or somebody outside of the NFL organization to make those decisions. But I've read that if Roger Goodell is not on board with the punishment, then he can still step in.
He can step in, but it's limited because this was part of the bargaining agreement in the NFL Players Association, where they were like, no. We want somebody independently to hear it because you're biased. Basically, use Big G's word. You're biased. You know, and definitely at this point, I think they're going to give him about 3 to 4 games. I just think it's going to happen. If they give him any more, look for him to appeal and get that shrunk to about 3 or 4 games. But right now, Vegas got, and it's funny to me because Vegas got them winning the North. And they have them winning the North to such a degree that everybody who's betting on this right now, and there's people who actually putting their money down, are going to lose their shirt, bro. So I'm thinking in my mind, and they keep in mind, the Browns still have Baker backing them up, so they could still be, decent and serviceable till Deshaun get back. But, honestly, with this Deshaun case, my point of view, which is what you asked me, it could go both ways, and it's funny. It's a whole bunch of he said, she said, even in the deposition, some of the stuff that was uniform across the board, those things they did, but they took the money for it also, right? They took money for the services also, rendered. So now they came back and sued.
Let me ask you this. So, and when we talked on our show, the Know It Alls podcast, you mentioned something about the Houston Texans, front office ownership and all them being in cahoots with some of these women. Is have you heard any more? Is any of that true?
Well, I mean, you got to think about it. The lawyers that were there was one lawyer that was representing all 22 of them, and he had Texan ties. He had Houston Texan ties, right?
Okay.
That's the strangest come off that I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Why is it that your lawyer, y'all are accusing him, and your lawyer has Houston Texans? I don't care if it's Houston. Houston's a big place, bro. Houston's one of the biggest places in the United States. So there's many of lawyers who could have took up their case. Why is it that one in particular?
What do you think about the homie George Teston saying if he pays him off, this still hurts his reputation?
George, I agree, George. But I'm gonna tell you something, dude. Ben Roethlisberger, is his reputation hurt? We talking here. I mean, Ben's gonna go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks to play the game, and everybody's not talking about that. Yeah, it hurt Kobe Bryant's reputation for a moment, but ain't nobody talking about that, right?
Yeah, especially if he's paying them $100,000. I'm guessing each one of them will have to sign an NDA too.
Yes, sir. That's an NDA, and everything's gonna be closed. Don't stop people from coming out after the fact, but I mean at this point. And then think about this, Tate. Think about this, B-Dirt. I need for y'all to answer this question yourself. You and I, all three of us, own a steel shop. One customer comes to us to buy steel, and this guy burns me, he burns Tate. By the time he gets to you, and we all three know each other, don't you think we would have already told you, hey, man, this guy is going to burn you, right?
Yep.
How did it happen 22 times? Can you tell me how it happened 22 times? 22 different individuals?
Yeah.
Can you tell me how that happened?
You know, I will say this, and I do want to address the Browns favored in Vegas comment before I go on with this Deshaun Watson. But the Browns are favored. Vegas favors people to move bets. It's not a prognostication that it doesn't really say they think they're going to win. They think they need to put them there because more people are going to bet on the Browns. So they have to change those odds around. But the thing that I really think hurt the Deshaun Watson case when you look at the suspensions and things like that is Trevor Bauer. Major League Baseball suspended him for 2 years. He never got convicted of anything. The judge basically threw it out. But I'm telling you, the court of public opinion is going to get
baseball, and we're not in the court of public opinion. We're in an independent judge's opinion.
Correct,
right?
But I'm saying, at the beginning of this,
jury there.
At the beginning of this, you said that months ago you didn't think he was going to get suspended at all. I think he's going to get at least half the season. I think he's going to get at least 8 games. I wouldn't be surprised if they started at a year and then, like you said, he appeals it and they settle on 8. That's my guess. And that's on top of the fact that he didn't play last year. So they look at it as, if you take time served, it's a year and a half. He's not going to be
we had this discussion before, me and mine on our show, and last year was totally in Houston, Texas. He wasn't suspended. He got paid.
Correct.
Well, yeah.
But he didn't play.
He didn't play. You're right.
Right. And I'm with you on that, Peter, which is why I told Tate in the very beginning, I don't think he gets any games because it's time served. Look at it as time served. He didn't play at all, right? And I agree. I hear what you're saying.
I think he'll take some game checks away from him, though.
Yeah, not dissing your opinion. But what I'm saying is 2 different sports, 2 different vantage points, 2 different judges. So you're not going to get the same look that Major League Baseball ain't the money earner that NFL is. And Deshaun Watson, like it or not, at the Cleveland Browns is must-see TV. The Browns didn't pay that much money to have him sit out half of the season. I guarantee you. So there's something that's happening behind the scenes we don't know about. And the NFL, like I said, he has been very all of the news that I've heard down this way is that he's been so cooperative with them, they're like running out of questions to ask.
Correct. And Major League Baseball does not like Trevor Bauer. They would like to run him out. The guy's, has a past of being kind of a thorn.
Let me give you guys my take real quick. So I agree with B Dirt. I think he gets between 6 and 8 games suspension. You brought up Mod at the beginning of what you were saying in today's climate, with the whole Me Too movement and things that's been going on, with situations like this over the past 4 or 5 years. And like B Dirk said, public opinion, I don't think the NFL can just let it go and not give him anything. So I think he'll get something. Maybe he gets 8 games. Maybe he appeals and turns to 4. As far as the Browns schedule, I think the NFL might know something because the Browns, their first 8 are easier than their last 8. They open up against the Jets, the Carolina Panthers, Atlanta Falcons, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, which, you can probably say, yeah, seems like a down year for us. So even without Deshaun Watson, those guys could potentially go 4-0. I'll say 3-1 because they'll lose to the Steelers, of course. But so I think it's kind of set up. Well, he'll get something. May not be anything super huge. May not be the 6 to 8. I think may just be 4. But I think because of the court of public opinion, the climate with the Me Too movement and that culture, that he will get something. They can't just fine him and let him play.
But let me ask you a question. And George, you make a great point. The NFL didn't suspend him, the Texans did. But get this, and you said they're going to protect the shield. I absolutely agree if they were the ones making the final decision. But let me ask you a question. If you didn't get in a civil matter is civil. It's like somebody suing you over rent. It's like somebody suing you over money that you owe them that you haven't paid. That's different. That's not criminal.
Right.
In a criminal court, there's nothing. He has no criminal charges. Right. So a man with no criminal charges, who has not been charged with any criminal activity, you're gonna say the whole year you're out. That's not gonna fly. I guarantee you, NFL Players Association will not let a whole year fly. Will they let 4 to 6 games fly? Absolutely. And I think at this point, I agree with you guys when we say 4 games, but I can't see him doing more than 4. I just can't. Can't see him doing more than 4. If he has to do 4.
Right. So that's certainly something the Browns have to figure out. So piggybacking off that, do they keep and play Baker Mayfield? Does Baker Mayfield show up for the first 4 games and let the Browns use him like that? Like, what happens with that situation?
B-Dirt, I'll let you chime first.
Man, I don't think he can. I don't think. I mean, would he do it? I wouldn't do it if I was him. I wouldn't play. I wouldn't go out there. To me, they need to move on from him. Baker, I mean, I would not, I tend to think that he's pouty and a little emotional sometimes for my liking. But on this one, I actually think he's in the right to get out of there. I think he deserves to go. They need to send him somewhere.
I think Baker is a Lake Travis kid, definitely. I mean, Lake Travis is where he came from, high school here in Austin, Texas. Definitely privileged in the sense to where he likes getting his way. So I'm not going to say that ain't an issue. But at the same time, I don't know, man. I don't know. The organization may need him. He got friends on the team, and play those 4 games. You still got time to get traded. You may play your way into getting traded to somebody may get hurt. You get traded to a really good organization. So, does he rock the boat or doesn't he? I think it'll be Baker's family that'll be more hurt than Baker himself, right? I think it'll be his family, like, all of his support group and the people who are always making noise for him in the background. Those will be the people who will be more hurt. Baker would go out and play football. So if Deshaun is definitely suspended, I could see Baker coming in playing those 4 games, trying to play his way into a starting role in somebody else's system.
And that's the key. If he come out and look good, his trade value goes up too. And if he plays 4 games, then basically if his trade value goes up, then the team that trades for him is only on the hook for 3/4 of what his contract was at the beginning of the season, because the Browns will have already played 1/4 of it because he played 4 games for him, right?
Right, so absolutely.
I could see him coming and potentially doing that. I don't know how easy it would be for him to do. You'd have to swallow a lot of pride. And so, I mean, I don't know, but okay. So we kind of talked about the Browns. Now, Ma, I know you got to get out of here, man. Before you go, I want to ask you this. We got another team with a situation in the AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens, and Lamar Jackson's contract. I want to ask you one question. One question, bro. Does Lamar Jackson deserve Dak Prescott money? Wow, you got to think about that. Lamar Jackson won the MVP and been to the playoffs every year except last year when he got hurt. There's a thought to that.
Yeah, there's a real thought to that.
Okay.
And there's something I need to add on Baker. You have Baker. You have to think about his character. Texas Tech, he set the bench. He went to Texas Tech behind the quarterback that he played with at Lake Travis. Then he transferred to Oklahoma, right? And he was the man there in Oklahoma system. So Baker knows how to wait and bide his time. He's not that type of dude to where he's gonna just like screw everybody. I'm tripping. He ain't that dude. Plus he got endorsements and everything else, so he ain't hurting. That's for certain. But with Lamar, here's the thing about Lamar. Lamar is crucial to the team. He is without Lamar Jackson, that Baltimore offense is it's out of here. You know what I mean? Because he gives them the run pass option. He runs the RPO better than anybody in the game. I mean, he's lightning quick, quick as a cat, fast. The reason why I hesitated on the money, man, is have we seen Lamar Jackson's ceiling? That's the question. That's the question you have to ask yourself. Have we seen the ceiling? Have we seen how good he's ever going to be? If we've seen that, then no. I mean, if he's not going to get any better and you're not putting receivers around him to help him get better, why are you paying him all that dough? You know what I mean? I haven't seen them try to help him offensively.
What if his ceiling? What if his ceiling was his MVP year? If he does that other years and that's his ceiling, that's pretty good. If your ceiling is MVP level, yeah, it's good enough.
I think he does deserve the contract. I think
is he good as Mahomes?
And they gave him Baltimore gave him a good offer. I think that where the disconnection lies is the guaranteed money, because I think Baltimore is kind of hedging the way he plays. I mean, is he going to be often injured? I don't know. That's the hard part. Do you give him a really loaded contract and guaranteed money, or do you kind of, hey, look, we're going to give you a huge contract, but we're not going to guarantee 3/4 of it. We're going to guarantee a third of it. I think that's where the disconnect in. I think he deserves the money. It's the guaranteed portion about it that's kind of a hard argument. I would say he deserves the money more than Dak deserves. I think it's more of an argument saying, does Dak deserves Dak contract? Because I would say no. And the other thing is, in Baltimore, Lamar is loved. So I went to a Pirates game yesterday, and there was a baseball team there from Baltimore, kids 11 and under, and I was talking to a couple of the parents about it, and we started talking about football, and they were talking about how much stuff Lamar Jackson does in the community. He'll just show up at high school football games and watch, high school football games in Baltimore and sign autographs and take pictures with everybody, and they just absolutely beloved. So, I think you put all those things together. I think they'll get a deal done. It's just they're going to argue over guaranteed money. You
know what's funny? What you just described was Dak Prescott.
Correct.
And not to mention, Jerry Jones thinks of these boys as sons. He's like, come here, let me put you under my arm, let me pay you because I want to keep you here as my teammate or as my quote unquote son.
Yeah, but you guys are taking some lumps because of a few of your big contracts right now because you're having a hard time signing some other complimentary pieces.
I don't want to make this about the Cowboys, but think about what other quarterback had outside of Tony Romo. What other quarterback have we had? We went fishing to find Tony Romo, and then after we found Tony Romo, we lucked up into Dak Prescott. So we've had a run full of horrible quarterbacks. So keeping the quarterback there is important. I want to talk about Joe Beckham. What Joe Beckham just said, that's a question right there. That's a question. What if the Browns are 4-0? Do you bench him? Do you bench Baker Mayfield if the Browns are 4-0?
You definitely do.
For Deshaun Watson, 100%. Especially if you're playing the Panthers and the Jets.
Yeah.
You're going to be 4-0.
Deshaun Watson is the quarterback no matter what. As soon as he comes back. And he can have they can be 4-0. Deshaun Watson come back and they go 0-4. Deshaun Watson's still the quarterback when they're 4-4 going into the 9th game of the season.
Wow.
I agree.
Because you're paying him $46 million a year.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I understand it. And yes, vodka drinker, Patrick Mahomes is from no, he didn't run Mayfield out of Texas Tech. No, Baker left because he had a chance to play with Lincoln Riley now down in Oklahoma. But no, seriously, honestly, bro.
There was another good quarterback. Baker came in and beat out of Oklahoma. Was his name Allen or something like that? When he first got to Oklahoma, Baker was a walk-on. He beat this guy transferred somewhere else because Baker beat him out as a walk-on.
The boy he beat out they turned him into I think it was his last name was Bell. They called him the Belldozer.
You talking about Blake Bell, but I thought it was somebody else named Allen. I could.
No, he beat him out. Yeah, he was trash. So they had to get a new quarterback anyway. Honestly, and I'm done after this, B-Dirt. For real, I hear what you're saying, and Tate, I hear what you're saying. I'm not at all. That doesn't fall on me, and as deaf ears or other statement. But if Baker's 4-0, that's a heck of a trade piece. And then that's a heck of because you have the chemistry going, you got the mojo going, you got the machine going. That means he just beat the Steelers, right? Who are vying for the North Championship.
Steelers in game 5 for them, maybe?
Game 4,
right?
4?
Game 4.
Okay.
Game 4.
Yeah, that means he beat the Steelers. He's 4-0. He beat the Steelers. Man, you got
Trevor Knight, who I was talking about. I think he transferred to Texas Tech.
Trevor Knight.
Yeah.
But let me ask you a question. If you got that type of chemistry going, honestly, do you break that chemistry up for Deshaun Watson?
Hey man, $46 million. Zeke play for y'all because he getting the money. Because Pollard is better right now. So when you get money, you gonna play.
Pollard's better than a man who was banged up. Listen, I'm gonna give Zeke. This is Zeke's loser to prove it year for me. Right before I could say that, he was hurt all last year, man. He was hurt all last year, and they were talking about. And I was trying to wait and say this for the know-it-all. Well, we'll talk about this on the Know-It-All podcast. But listen, okay. I will say this on the Deshaun Watson thing. When it comes down to it, B-Dirt, when it comes down to it, Tate, if you can't prove him having any involvement in any criminal activity, how can you justify? Even I understand the Shield is trying to protect the Shield. But how can you justify giving this man 8 games? You cannot. You can't.
Well, I think in the court of public opinion, and if he paying women off, even though they can't say nothing, that make it look suspect right there.
24 women, though. How much time's he got on his hands? I don't even know how he pulls it off with his schedule. Jeez.
Hey, man, it's massages. And see, that's another thing. Think about that, B-Dirt. These are all massages, right? From people who are around the team. He ain't going to just average. He ain't going to Joe Schmo massage parlor. He ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? He's going to people who are affiliated with the Texans team.
I don't care. If Baker plays during a suspension, I don't care if it's 4 games or 6 games. I don't care if he's undefeated. If he gets suspended for 4 games on the Monday after the 4th game, have the moving truck at your house. I don't care if you're 4-0 or 0-4. He's gone.
Right about that.
You putting this stuff in a plastic bag? And
you get 2 men in a truck and have that thing loaded up Monday morning, bro. You're going somewhere else.
One more thing before you got to go, man. And this gonna push me and B-Dirt into talking about the Bengals and the Steelers to finish out. So I asked the question. I think we talked about it in our Slack channel for the know-it-alls. I sent the text. Who 2 questions. Who you got between Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert? And then who do you think the Steelers starting quarterback should be from, in your opinion, not being a Steeler fan, not having any stake in the game? What do you think?
All right. So I'm gonna deal with the obvious question. We Justin Herbert is a dog. But he ain't Joe Burrow.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
He's not Joe Burrow. I mean, you can say what you want to say about Joe Burrow, and I've said, you know, Joe Burrow is a top quarterback in the NFL. He was good his first year, just didn't have no protection, got hurt. He was really good in second year with no protection. Now let's see what he's gonna do in his third. This is the year. This is the year where people done sat down with that clicker and like, oh, this is what he like to do. Okay, all right, because we're playing professional football. Boys just don't let you run amok. You got to continue to develop your game, because they're looking at your tendencies. But if Joe Burrow does it again this year, I mean, for real, like sky's the limit for him. We'll be talking about him with Patrick Mahomes for a long time. Second question, I don't think it's even a debate, man. I mean, Kenny Pickett is ready, but Mitch Trubisky is tried, man, and I think he's more of a game manager, and he'll be able to keep y'all together. Kenny Pickett has never seen the speed of the NFL, like he's about to see the speed of the NFL. So only the elite quarterbacks are able to make that jump to where they're like the speed and the timing and everything. They got it together. But they say in the OTAs he looks great. But I mean, it's OTAs, right? But I still would go with Trubisky. Play it safe. If I can get, win 5 of the first 7 games with Mitch, we're good. We're good for real.
I think Trubisky's the way to lean right now, just because if you look at the game film on Kenny Pickett and you critique him, he had some happy feet in college. I mean, he looks great in OTAs because he's wearing that red jersey. When he starts getting hit in the mouth, I think happy feet might come back. I think he should probably lean on Trubisky, like you're saying, good game manager, and let him slowly come in.
Yeah,
okay,
definitely agree. And then you got a dog running back here, man. You got an animal at running back, and y'all improved the offensive line. And with a makeshift offensive line, he went for a stack last year.
1,200,
so, yeah. Imagine what he's gonna do with an actual offensive line.
And Najee's come back in OTAs so far this offseason. He's put on like 5 pounds of muscle. He just looks so much bigger than he did last year. He has like Earl Campbell quads and thighs, like literally. Saquon Barkley, his thighs, and dude is just quick. I mean, I'm looking for him, Najee, to go for 1,400 this year. On the Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert thing, I gotta agree with you. I gotta go. We don't gotta ask you that, B-Dirt. We know who you're going with. But I gotta go with Joe Burrow. I mean, I think Herbert has more in his bag from a tool standpoint.
Yeah.
6'5", stronger arm, all those intangibles. But Joe Burrow has the intangibles, the moxie, the cool, the calm under pressure. Just all those things is Joe Burrow, man.
The it factor.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
I know when he played my Longhorns, that's when I knew he was something. I mean, we were coming down trading blow for blow, but then he downshifted and went to another gear. I'm like, man, who is it? Hey. Of course, you got Jamar Chase and the other guy. I forget the other guy's name.
Justin Jefferson.
Jordan Jefferson. So I mean, and they were killing us, but I mean, he was standing back there throwing darts.
Yeah,
and I was like, man, who is this dude? And I mean, the moxie he had was like unbelievable. So I've seen it for a couple of years, you know what I'm saying, and watched it play out. And the boy's good, man. The boy's good. I mean, anybody who's gonna light up a stogie after they win, like,
hey,
this is what I do. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I like Joe Burrow. But hey, Mod, thanks for joining us, man. Before you go, plug what you're doing, man. Let the people know what you got going on, man.
Definitely, you guys. Thank you for having me on Behind the Steel Curtain. Love all y'all Steeler fans. Definitely we got a great rivalry with the Cowboys, man. We are a part of the Know It All podcast. Know It All podcast happens directly after this one, so make sure that you check it out. Of course, it's Know It Alls. You'll find it on YouTube. That's what we do. That's who we are. We are Know It Alls because we do know it all. B-Dirt don't know nothing, but we know it all.
No, you'll find me in the chat room apologizing to you Celtics fans over there. So.
Hey, I'm out of here.
Okay, man. Y'all. Thanks.
Yeah.
B-Dirt.
Yes, sir.
Me and you, man. So, you know what I want to talk to you about, man. You know, we're gonna talk now. We left to talk about the Bengals and the Steelers. So, Bengals first. Now, what I really want to know, man, is do you think they will, and do you think the Bengals can repeat and win the AFC North?
I definitely think we can. We really shored up some of our glaring weaknesses last year off of the offensive line, um, especially. So I really like some of the signings, the draft picks. I think everything's great. But like we've said, I mean, the North is a beast. The AFC North it's tough. I really think that it's going to be the healthiest team at the end of the season. I really do. I think it's going to really, really come down to that. If everybody's healthy, I like our chances as much as everybody. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be a gauntlet.
Right. And I think, the AFC North is tough as is, but it gets even tougher if Mitchell Trubisky plays well.
Absolutely.
If he plays well, because all the teams are really good on both sides of the ball. And, we're kind of doubting the Steelers because the unknown, the question mark at the quarterback position. The AFC West, I'd say, is stronger just because every one of those quarterbacks is more proven.
Yep.
So on the bottom of that, at least from a perspective standpoint, you probably would put Derek Carr at the bottom.
Yeah.
And
that's a tough division, man.
That's a tough division, right? You got Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, and Derek Carr. And then in our division, you got Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, and Mitch Trubisky. We don't know. So that's the difference in the two divisions.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But
Sonya over here in the chat, there is no automatic win in our division.
None.
The Browns being a bye week is done with. That's over with. You're 100% right.
You're right, Sonya. There is no automatic wins in the North. You better buckle that chin strap and come to play every single Sunday. Every single Sunday. But B Dirt, what you been hearing anything? You been keeping up with the Bengals OTAs? Like any news out of there that you got? Anything like that?
I have. Bates obviously has been a sore spot for us, refusing to play underneath the franchise tag. Yeah. But the kid out of Cam Taylor-Britt,
Nebraska,
out of Nebraska, has looked outstanding, and they're playing him in multiple positions, which has been great. I think he can actually see some safety work even. They've been pleasantly surprised with the safety out of Anderson out of Toledo. Okay, they got in the later rounds. So I'm feeling pretty good. I just don't think Bates is worth, top 5. I don't think he's worth 15, 20 million a year.
He's not worth Minka Fitzpatrick money.
No, not at all. And so I think it's going to be tough. The other kid that's looked really good is out of North Dakota State, the Cordell Volson. He's offensive lineman out of North Dakota State. But they really smart. He's already learned every position on the line, knows all the plays, all the calls. I think he's that Swiss Army knife. I don't think he's going to start this year. But I think that he's somebody that we can plug and play at pretty much any position if we have any injuries or any issues like that. So, yeah, good stuff from what I'm hearing so far.
Okay. Well, the reports out of Steelers camp, we've had 2 weeks of voluntary, camp. So, not tomorrow. Tuesday is the mandatory camp starts for this week coming. The big news so far for the Steelers the past couple of weeks, we got a new GM, Omar Khan, but he's been under Kevin Colbert's expert tutelage for the last 21 years since he's been there. So, I know there'll be some changes, some more He's much younger, so more probably more analytics and stuff involved in some of the decision making with a lot of the young guys. I can see some of that happening, but still, the Steeler way is a Steeler way, so some of that stuff won't change. But some of the stuff in his personal decision making will change. I mean, the way he sees the game, but like the way the Steelers do business and the way they do things and stuff like that. That's just a cultural thing. And Mike Tomlin's still the coach, and Mr. Rooney's still the owner, so that stuff will stay the same. Stephon Tuitt retired, kind of unexpected, but not unexpected. Stephon Tuitt was a great player for us for 8 years. Second round out of Notre Dame, I believe, in 2013. Was it 15? I think it was 13. He came the same year Ryan Shazier came, whenever that was. Shazier was a first-round pick. Tuitt was a second-round pick. That's a heck of a draft for the Steelers. You get Shazier and Tuitt in the first or second rounds. But he retired. He didn't play last year. His brother was tragically killed in a hit-and-run accident down in Georgia, and he was dealing with a knee injury. And I have a brother. I couldn't imagine it. I wouldn't know, how to feel or how I would move on. I don't know. So, I respect his decision because it's his decision. I'm sure he talked it over with his family, and at the end of the day, some Steeler fans have said he stole money last year. I don't think he stole money. I mean, he just was an employee that needed time off, right? That was last year. And this year he retired. So, he could have stole money if he came and his heart wasn't in it. If he came out there and was a shell of himself and you're paying him this $11 million contract this year and he's not doing nothing, then he's stealing money. So, he retired, saves us $9 million on the cap. I like the guys we have on the defensive line. A lot of young guys. Well, Cam Hayward, Tyson Alualu, not young, but we got young Chris Wormley. Chris Wormley's your guy from Michigan.
Yep.
He's good. He's good with the rush, but kind of gets victimized in the run game, in the rush game. But we drafted the kid Liao out of Texas A&M. We got Loudermilk from out of Wisconsin last year. He's like 6'7". I believe he was like 280 last year. I believe he's up like 310 now. So he's put on a lot of weight, a lot of muscle to go in that 6'7" frame. And I like the guy Montravius Adams. We picked him up midway through the year off the Saints practice squad. I really like him. I think he'll split time with Tyson Alualu. A little more quick twitch in that position when you put him in there. Tyson is the muscle. He's the bull rusher and the run stopper. So, I like the mix that we have. We could go out and try and get a veteran guy. I don't know. We have $21 million in cap space. We could swing big if we wanted to. I don't know that they will. But so that's the defensive line. I've already talked about Najee Harris looking good. I really like the receiver room. I think you got to give you guys, the Bengals, the number one receiver room in the division with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. Those guys are really good, a good threesome. But I like our threesome isn't as proven, but I like Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool. We drafted George Pickens. Mm-hmm. And then we got the kid Calvin Austin III out of Memphis. Like 4.29, 40 speed, little, and he's not just fast, he's quick twitch. Yeah. He's in and out of his breaks. He could be really good. And I even like, the other guys, the 5 and 6 receivers. When you're talking about Anthony Miller was a second round pick for the Bears. He's like only 27 years old, might have something to prove. Out of Memphis also. And Miles Boykin out of Notre Dame, 6'4", like 225, really fast. Didn't really prove himself in Baltimore, but then Baltimore never really throw the ball good. And when they did, they threw it to their tight ends. That's why Hollywood Brown got out of there. So as a 5th or 6th receiver, I like those guys. You know what I mean? So I like our receiver room. The offensive line is reworked. I like it. I think Mason Cole will be the center with James Daniel at right guard. Chooks over there with him on the other side. I think you have Kevin Dotson and Dan Moore. So I like the line. And now quarterback. And you guys kind of answered the question, and I'm kind of with you guys, man. I waver back and forth. I know the 7th round pick Odulikin is not going to play. Think he'll make this. He'll be on the practice squad, and they're grooming him. They're grooming him to be inexpensive backup, I think, for Kenny Pickett when Kenny Pickett is ready to take over.
Mm-hmm.
But for the next 2 years, it's going to be Kenny Pickett and Mitch. Right now, I probably would go with Mitch, though. I think he's going to come back with something to prove himself. He had a up and down career in Chicago. Did make a Pro Bowl. Took the Bears to the playoffs 2 times. People will say not good coaching Matt Nagy. He went to Buffalo for a year, sat behind Josh Allen, the Brian Dable offense. Brian Dable is now the coach for the New York Giants. But I really think that Mitch has something to prove, and I think he has the weapons around. He didn't have to win the game, just don't lose the game. I mean, when you're talking about those receivers we talked about, I think Pat Freiermuth will make a big jump in year 2. I actually got him being a top 5 to top 10 tight end, really. I think he's that good. And with Najee Harris running the ball, I mean, and our defense is going to be really strong. That's the thing. So if Mitch can help them put 24 points on the board, I think we'll be in a lot of games. What do you think about the Steelers, B-Dirt?
I think Najee Harris is the key to me. That's where I would game plan most of my defensive prowess to. I think that's going to be the key to stopping the Steelers. I think they're going to try to control the ball. I think they're going to try and shorten the game, if you would, and lean on their defense and the run game. Very much Steelers football, right?
Right.
They know how to win. They have a proven pedigree. You can't count them out. I think it's going to be a lot of it's one of those weird situations, though, where you look at it as, game management, but there's so many explosive pieces in your wide receiver room that I think that you look at it as game management, but a 4-yard pass could end up a 40-yard game pretty quick. So that's I think that's the key. I don't. You have too good of a defense, and you have too many pieces to think that you're not going to be in that 500.
Hey man, and where do you factor Mike Tomlin in your thoughts in that?
It's funny because living in Pittsburgh, I hear a lot of Tomlin bashing. I listen to 93.7 The Fan a lot. I get these podcasts from behind the steel curtain as well. And I hear a lot of people chime in when they're calling in, not the sports authorities here, if you would, but people calling in and bashing Tomlin. And I mean, as somebody that's had, Marvin Lewis was my best coach, right? I would have taken Tomlin at any point in time during our history. Even the Sam Weiss days, I would take Tomlin.
Right.
So I think he's just a great coach, and he does have his little quirky comments and quotes. Like you can you're going to hear. Rest assured, you're going to hear 2 or 3 of his, kind of top 10 quotes in any given Sunday. So
right.
But yeah, I think he's great. I think he's a great coach.
But so I agree with you, and the fans, the Pittsburgh fans that Tomlin bash, I don't get it. Like, what do you guys want to do? Who would we go get outside of Bill Belichick that has better credentials or better than Tomlin right now? I mean, if you hear the players love playing for this guy.
Yeah.
The players love playing for this guy.
Yeah, there you go. Tomlinisms. Yes.
Right.
The standard is the standard. You got it.
But how do you think he factors in this season? I mean, I go back to 2019. They had Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph. Mm-hmm. At one point in this season, I think they started 0-4 that year, and they got up to 8-5. And the last 3 games, like the bottom fell out, right?
Yeah.
You know, you got Duck playing, Mason that got hurt again the game against the Jets, and we lost to the Jets. I believe the Ravens. I can't remember the last game. Might have been the Bengals, but we lost 3 straight to finish 8-8. But we were 8-5, and there was talk about Tomlin being coach of the year because of who he was winning with. You know what I mean?
When they were 8-5, Duck Hodges could have won a race for mayor here.
Right.
Everybody loved him.
Right.
Fun story, you know.
That fell off quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they could have made the playoffs that year. That was a great Tomlin coaching job. The guy never loses. I don't see him losing this year. I'm not saying they're going to win a division, but I think at minimum with 17 games now, he's 9-8. And I don't understand the Tomlin hate. But yeah, B Dirt. So man, you got anything, any closing thoughts, anything you want to say, anything you want to plug? B Dirt, as always, he's been a guest on the Know It All podcast with us from time to time. He's always in the live chat stirring things up with Big G. And if you guys, Big G hasn't been on here yet, you met Ma earlier today. If you don't know Big G, check us out this evening. Big G always has wild things to say, B Dirt.
Yeah, and he's definitely going to go in on me a little bit, I'm sure, because we've been in some of our chats talking a little fun trash over here with the Celtics and some other things. So, yeah, it should be a fun one. I'm definitely going to be tuning into that. But, I'm just, we got about 2 weeks left. We'll be wrapping up the Stanley Cup playoffs in 2-3 weeks. We're wrapping up another couple of weeks, the NBA will be wrapped up. You see it's football time, man. It's football time. I'm pretty excited for it. Looking forward to this season more than any season I can remember, quite honestly.
Yeah, probably since the 89 season, last time he's come off a Super Bowl appearance.
Yeah, and I feel like we did more in the off season. I really like the aggressiveness they had, the signings they had. I mean, we have a gauntlet to run through. Our schedule is not for the meek, I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
but
you got number one schedule.
But to be the best, you got to beat the best, right?
There you go. You got a first place schedule. I meant to say you got that first place schedule. You win a division, then you play all division winners. In those other games. So like you playing the Cowboys. You playing the Bills, the Chiefs. You playing all those guys, man. You guys got a loaded schedule.
I got to see if we can hang a 50 burger on Mod's team there, huh?
Hey, I hope you guys smash the Dallas Cowboys. It's not hard for me to root for teams in the division because as long as the Steelers handle their business and beat the teams, I don't have no reason to root against you guys. Yeah. But let me say this because I think we talked about it. I know we talked about this with Big G real quick, and this has to do with the Bengals. Man, how good was Boomer Esiason, man?
Oh, Boomer was great. We looked at his numbers one day. We had into a discussion about something. And Boomer, I wouldn't have thought some of those numbers that he had are those numbers. Boomer was great. No, and him and Sam Weiss with doing, they were before the K-Gun and some of that stuff that Buffalo was doing. They really were pretty innovative in some of their offensive strategy and thinking too. It was a fun time to watch.
Right. And I'm a few years older than you, so I go back a little further. I remember Forrest Gregg and Kenny Anderson. I remember that Bengals team that played, the first Joe Montana team in the Super Bowl.
81
in the Silverdome. The Bengals were monsters that year, man. Yeah. So, I mean, when we look at you guys, we're looking at 81, 88, and then last year, I mean, you guys show up. You guys have been in the big game. The Browns have never been there. The Browns, dude, have never won the AFC North.
That's crazy.
It's been around since 2002. Now, they got a couple AFC Central titles back in the day and stuff like that, but never won the North. And the Steelers have never finished in last place in the North. I just want to throw that in there, too.
Ooh.
Yeah, some nuggets, buddy. Some nuggets.
Could be 2 firsts this year, couldn't it?
I was having that discussion. I really was.
I would bet on both of those things happening before I would bet on neither one of them happening.
Wait, hold on. Don't confuse me, man. You were betting on both. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, no. I don't think the Steelers finish last. I mean, I don't think that, but it's possible. They'll probably pick to finish last again because of the question mark at the quarterback position. But, so, all right, man. Well, once again, man, thanks for joining me, man. I feel like you and Ma brought a whole bunch of great information, man. And George Teston, man. Thanks, bruh. Hey, B Dirt and KT, good show. Thanks a lot, man. We appreciate it. It felt like a good show. I felt like Ma was giving his perspective, the Houston, Texas perspective of what's going on with the Deshaun Watson thing. We chimed in. We talked about all the different teams and stuff. I felt like it was a really good show, man. And I also want to just say George Teston again, when he said, I had it up for a minute, Freiermuth and Gentry are going to be the best tight end. I don't know if they'll be the best, but they're going to be a really good tight end duo. And
maybe duo, but the Ravens got like 7 tight ends right now. So just by depth, you got to give them a shot at it too.
Yeah, they might be the only team that have more tight ends than receivers.
Just kept drafting tight ends.
Right. Oh man, George again. He must go back. He remembers Kenny Anderson was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Kenny Anderson was the best. Was the first quarterback I saw live. I was a little kid.
Let's see a couple of live chat things. Let's see. Is that Sun City? The question of QB answered. Vet Mitch and the young gunner in waiting. Let's go. I'm with you, man. Go ahead and play Mitch. Kenny, there's no rush on Kenny Pickett, man. No rush to playing. So I certainly agree. You see anything in the live chat, B? You want to comment on before we get out of here?
No, I think you hit most of them, man.
Okay.
We had some good stuff in the live chat.
We did. We didn't get to as much as usual because we had another guest on, and we had more of us talking than what we usually do. But thank you guys for joining us. Again, for joining this BTSC broadcast. This is We Run the North. Check out the other shows. Tonight is the Steelers Q&A. I'm not sure who's doing that tonight. I mean, Brian Anthony Davis, I think. I'm not for certain, but check it out. It'll be a great time to get your questions in and getting answered if we didn't get to do them today. Tomorrow is the Hangover. That is Brian Anthony Davis, Shannon White, Tony Defio. Then Tuesday, you got the Scobro Show. You guys know the routine. Check out the Jeff Hartman's audio podcast, Let's Ride. Check those out on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and Facebook and wherever you get your audio podcast. Check out BTSC. Just type in Pittsburgh Steelers, BTSC Radio, whatever you got to do, but you get a whole bunch of great Steeler content. And on Sundays, we like to talk about the whole North. That's why the homie B Dirt joins us he has everything we need to know on the Bengals. So until next week, we appreciate you joining us. Let's go Steelers. Okay, Bengals. You unplug your Bengals. Let's go Bengals. Whatever. Let's go.
I know where I'm at.
And you're even
over here quietly
in Pittsburgh. You're in Pittsburgh.
I'm about 2.5 miles from downtown. I went to the Pirates game yesterday. It was beautiful out. Walk-off homer. Rookie hit a home run and walk-off homer in the ninth.
Who'd they play?
Arizona.
Okay.
I went to see if Goldschmidt get another hit. I don't think he did.
I'm in DC. My Cincinnati Reds are playing the Nationals. They played them a 4-game series and lost 3. But they're in Cincinnati, so I didn't get to go. But I'm just saying the Reds are really bad. But So thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you guys next week on We Run the North. Peace.